Hey guys, and welcome back to the Gran Turismo 6 No Money Challenge. If you haven't watched the previous episodes, I recommend you watch those before watching this one. Anyways, I welcome you back to the world of Gran Turismo 6. If this is only the first race, then I have no idea how I'm gonna do the rest of the event. I guess I'll have to try to find out. The second race is at Suzuka Circuit. The first corner came around and I managed to overtake the Camaro with ease. Then I managed to catch up and overtake the Corvette Grand Sport. I used the cornering strategy on the S-curves to try to catch up to my other opponents, but that wasn't enough. I used the cornering strategy on this section of the track and I managed to catch up to the NSX, but not quite enough to overtake it. Then I tried to catch up and overtake it on the U-turn, but I couldn't. Oh, come on! It also doesn't help that my opponents are twice as fast as me. I honestly don't know what to say. Every time I think there's an overtaking opportunity, there's not. The straight came along and I wasn't able to overtake the NSX, but I did overtake the roof. That's something, I guess. The braking zone came around and I finally managed to overtake the NSX. Then I used the sneaky tactic to overtake the M3 Coupe. There's another straight here, so you know what that means. Time to turn into a roadblock. And I've gotta say, the roadblock strategy is quite difficult to do when you have to block two cars at the same time. But thankfully, the game did its thing of manipulating the AI speed, which allowed me to pull away a bit. I used the cornering strategy on the S-curves to try to catch up to the Camaro, and that actually worked. I used the cornering strategy again on this section, which allowed me to catch up to the Camaro and overtake it. And then after that, I did everything in my power to try to catch up and overtake the other three racers, which was a fucking nightmare if you ask me. I tried to catch up to them, but no matter what I did, I just couldn't. That is, until we got to the final section of the track. Since the AI is ridiculously slow in this section, I used that to my advantage and overtook the M3 CSL. And then I also overtook the Colorway and the Roof RGT. And even though cock-blocking those guys was painful, it still wasn't enough to stop me from winning the race and earning 3 stars for coming in first place. The third and the final race is at Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit. I used the cornering strategy on this corner, which allowed me to catch up to the Holden Monaro and overtake it. I tried to catch up to the Evora on this corner, but as usual, it wasn't enough. I braked way later than the AI on the braking zone, which allowed me to catch up to the Evora and overtake it. Another straight, but this time there was no need for me to use the roadblock strategy. On this high-speed corner, I managed to catch up to the Holden Commodore, and then on the next corner, I overtook it with not too much difficulty. Then after that, I managed to catch up and overtake the Hyundai Genesis, since the AI is so ridiculously slow on this section of the track. On the beginning of the second lap, I managed to catch up to the Mercedes-Benz. And then I overtook it on the braking zone, along with the Pontiac GTO right in front of it. And then it took me a bit of time to catch up to the NSXR and the M3. But once I did, it was very easy to overtake it. After that, I tried to catch up to the NSXR, but no luck. It wasn't until the third lap that I managed to catch up to the NSXR and the Mustang. Then I overtook both of them on the inside, and as a result, the Mustang almost ended my race. And I got out-accelerated by the NSXR again. The rest of the race was pretty much the NSXR versus me versus Mustang, which was a really intense battle if you ask me. But in the end, I managed to pull through and take the win. There's not much else to say, other than this was probably the funniest finish yet. And yeah, that's NA Sports Series. Unlike last time, picking which event I should do next was really easy. Yeah, I think you've already figured this one out. Lucky for me, the KTM Crossbow Street has a turbocharged engine, which allows me to use it in the event. Anyways, the first race is at Deep Forest. So let's see how I do. Not even the first corner came around and I'm already out accelerating the 180SX. Then I overtook the S13 Silvia very easily. The next section of the track came around and I managed to overtake the S14 Silvia with no problem. Then I overtook the S3 Turbo HC on this section. And then after that I overtook the Caldina minivan. I didn't brake on this corner, allowing me to catch up to the MR2 and overtake it, along with the Legacy Blitzen right in front of it. The mini straight came around and I managed to out-accelerate the Evo 3, if that's even an actual word. On the home stretch, I managed to catch up to the Impreza and overtake it using a questionable tactic. Overall, this race was really easy. Even though I crashed multiple times, I still managed to win the race with no problem. And the same would be true for the second race, which was held at Trial Mountain. I overtook the classic Skyline and the Peugeot RCZ very easily. And then I overtook my totally normal Gran Turismo 5 playthrough episode 4 self. Then on the next corner, I managed to overtake this not so ugly Renault Megane. Then I tried to overtake the 240Z but failed. So I tried again on the next corner and succeeded this time. At the end of the straight, I managed to catch up to the Nissan Stagia and the Mitsubishi Legnum, and then I overtook both of them. On the next braking zone, I managed to overtake the Caldina again, and then on this corner, I managed to catch up to the Skyline and overtake it. And then the final corner came around and I forgot to brake. Insert explosion here. My skill issues allowed the Skyline to overtake me, but then I overtook it back 5 seconds later. And even though I crashed again on the second lap, I still managed to take the win. The third and the final race is at Spa-Francorchamps circuit. The first braking zone came around and I managed to beat the Golf very easily. On the speed section, I managed to catch up to the RX-7 and overtake it with not too much difficulty. And the same would be true for the 205 T16 on the next speed section. Then on the braking zone, I managed to overtake the not-so-ugly Renault Megane and the S14 Silvia. And then it took me a bit of time to catch up to the Megane trophy. But once I did, it was very easy to overtake it. Then on the next sets of corners, I managed to catch up to the 2005 Impreza and overtake it, along with the 2007 Impreza right in front of it. And then the rest of the race pretty much went as you would expect it to go. And yeah, that's Turbo Sports Series. Then I went to do the International B license and this is how it went. Yup, this one's gonna be a fucking nightmare. Bruh. So I successfully completed the International B license, and now I can take part in the International B class events. And also earning 2 prize cards. One for completing the license, and one for getting all gold on the license tests. And if you're wondering, here's all the cards I have so far. The collection is definitely growing. So now it's time to do the GT All-Stars Championship, and unfortunately, I have no other choice but to do it using this insult of an automobile.